Hey healers, hey, welcome back to my channel. It's time to talk about something that I've been wanting to talk to you guys about for a while, and Capricorn full moon is the perfect time to talk about this with you. It's the cult of Gore. The cult of Gore. Ancient cults. Self sacrifice is rooted in allegiance to this cult. I'm gonna do my best to get through this. You guys want to know why I went psycho? Because I busted out of this cult. And now I'm an expert. And I wondered, like, how do people become experts in breaking out of cult consciousness? They do it. You know how they say that we choose our life before we're born? We're choosing our destiny ahead of time. But the only thing we have to do here on earth is figure out why we chose it. And I've asked myself this question so many times. Why did I choose to take up this mantle of breaking the generational curse of childhood sexual abuse for specifically for sex workers and survivors as a monolith? Because at a certain point, after taking this mantle, running with it, who's our healers? We're breaking the generational curse of childhood sexual abuse. I'm doing it and I'm showing you how. Cool, great. Because I did not even know how impossible it would be. And it's just so crazy how much it takes away quality of life when you try to do the impossible and then you regard yourself a failure for failing at it. Well, what's the richness of the journey? What's there to learn? You qualify yourself along the way. So no matter how bad you fail or how much you stray from your original intentions, it's all to the good, because these are lessons learned on life's journeys that you don't have the privilege of learning if you don't get the privilege of the journey. The cult of Gore. Gore is who most people are talking about when they say God. Gore, God, Gore, God, Gore. And it was such a huge revelation for me to realize this, that like, oh, these people are not worshiping the Almighty Creator. No, no, there's something else being worshipped here, and it's the survival mind. It's whatever was the survival in the worst of times. Specializing in ancestral healing, working with populations that come from lineages that are targeted for sex trafficking. Like, these are people, it don't matter where your people moved all over the globe, they've been stalked for sex trafficking. Why is that? Because the sacred womb. Everybody's talking about Mary Magdalene, and it's popular to become a priestess of the rose lineage, because these are the times that we're in. This is natural, but of course, like anything else, this lineage has been hijacked. The truth about the Magdalene lineage is that it's found in every nationality, every race, every ethnicity, because it's a matrilineal coding. It goes through the matrilineal DNA is coming from your mother's side, all the mothers. It's the unbroken chain between you and the first mother. And it's sort of naive at this point for us to think that we all have the same one. We're not the same species. We need to be more comfortable speaking openly about it in a non derogatory way. A lot needs to come to the surface within spirituality, in the spiritual scene, the spiritual healing arts, um, because people are hurting. They came for healing and they're hurting and they don't know why. And the reason why you're seeing so many people like leave spirituality and go back to Islam or go back to Jesus is because they don't know how to handle the weight of the responsibility that they've been given to have governance and ownership over their own soul. What do you need the blood of Christ for when you bleed your own blood every month and you shed it? Can somebody tell me? These spiritual leaders are lost. I've just been laying back in the cut because that was the best thing for me to do. But I never stopped showing up for my flock who was looking for me because I take what I do seriously. It's not just an aesthetic, it's not just a way for me to make a name for myself, it's not just something that makes my ego feel good. It's my calling and my destiny. And I came here for a reason. And if I wasn't going to be able to do it my way, ethically, with integrity and beauty and respect for a sovereign dignity of all, then I wasn't gonna do it. And yeah, I would rather be in shambles. I would rather have my life in shambles than be upholding a doctrine that I don't believe in. Okay, do I have to get so intense and dramatic about it? I'm gonna tell you guys this story the best way that I can. I'm just getting it out, and I think being somebody that's been working as a professional spiritual guide and spiritual leader, like I'm so far down the rabbit hole, and it's honestly been hard the whole time. It's being so far down the rabbit hole, it's been hard for me to believe that anybody else would want to join me here. So it has been hard to show up. It has been hard to sell my services that I offer that help people and change people's lives for the better. Well, sometimes like certain things happen, and they cause you to change the way you look at yourself. And for me, getting to the root of the cult of Gore, the reason why I discovered this cult is because I recovered my repressed memories of childhood sexual abuse. So I remembered what happened, I remembered who did it and why, and I am uncovering all these layers to it that I did not know. And it changes everything. And then now my whole life is a lie because every choice that I thought that I made based on the information that I thought that I had, well, that was false information. So it changes everything. So, for example, I look at life differently now, and I couldn't really find a place for myself in the um, like Palestine circuit, like all the speakers speaking on Palestine. But that's not my destiny. That was one of many destiny swaps in my life. And if you're really gifted, like if if you're a certain type of gifted and a certain type of person, it's actually a good thing for you to have been hidden. It's actually a good thing for people to have come through and like ransacked your destinies because you had all this like wide array of destinies that you could have chose, and they just took the ones that were more matrix glorified and left you with the ones that weren't matrix glorified. And that's a good thing because the cult of Gor is falling. This is one of the reasons why there's so much death and destruction right now. Specifically, there's certain empires that are more stuck in this cult than others. So we're going to see that happen now. This has been a shift. I've been observing this shift for years, specifically since 2020, moving towards the one world religion, and moving towards the triracial, where there's three races. So the religion is Judaism. The races are Asian, Black, and Jewish. But Jewish is looks like this. So there's like an erasure happening that erases my bloodline out of existence. Like there's no more Palestinians. We never existed. We're not part of the new world order. Palestinians are not part of the new world order. Um, and a lot of other groups, they're not part of the new world order because this order necessitates their erasure. So I know this might be convoluted, but I'll try to get to the point to like make it make sense. Okay, so stay with me, you guys. Then please check in with me. Let me know what's resonating because I don't get the chance to talk about this like in a conversational setting with most people. So to be able to speak about it with you is a gift, and I welcome your feedback. Because when we're doing spiritual work, like for us to actually have a good grasp of what we're working with, for the majority of people it's not likely that they have a good grasp. It's most people, they're in a firmament of their spiritual gifts, and they don't know that they'll see things that validate matrix reality because that's being put in. It's like a false ori. um it's essentially, in this cult you have a false chakra system and you have a false ori. So you'll get psychic messages, you'll be able to do energy work, you'll be able to do all of that, but it's running through a false chakra system and a false energy grid. And the purpose of that is siphoning. Most Christians are in the cult of Gor, most Muslims are in the cult of Gor, um, and most people that practice Judaism, they're also in the cult of Gore, but they're in a different caste. They're in a higher caste. And so there's obviously, like, I don't know, there's so much I don't know about like world culture, politics, and things like that. So I'm speaking as a psychic medium, and the things that come out of my mouth, a lot of times I have no way of knowing, but that's not my job. My job is to channel. My job is to deliver the message, not to know what I'm even going to say next. This is not a scripted video. This is off the cuff. I'm just talking to you. And I'm working out these ideas and figuring out how to talk about them because I've never heard anybody talk about them before. And I felt as soon as I start talking about this, it's going to become a thing. But I don't think actually that, like, I don't think I've explained it well enough for people who don't know what it is to get it. And I think that for the people that know what it is, they know exactly what I'm talking about. Because as soon as I introduced this to my clients that I was working with, immediately they started picking up the language. They started identifying things that they would experience that were, gore coded. So essentially, if you guys played the game Candyland when you were a kid, there was this character that was like a big blob of chocolate. He was like a poop chocolate emoji, chocolate poop emoji. Um, because he was like, he had like eyes and like he had a face, but he was like this blob of poop. Or imagine like Jabba the Hutt. That's another image that to give you of what this creature looks like. This is the actual entity that is he's fled the planet now. This is why all his followers, they're basically having to find new forms of worship. It also has to do with the Capricorn full moon. Basically what's happened, that the horned goddess has returned. And before this, over the past like some large amount of time has gone by where she had been desecrated. Like her horns had been taken from her and put on somebody else's head, a man. So she didn't get to ride that unbridled fulfillment and ecstasy in her gifts, her womb based activation, expansion, manifestation, healing, transformation. It's essentially the Baphomet. the amalgamation of all these things. So Baphomet is human. Like that's earthly. Not human, but it's beastly, it's earthly. Gore co-opted the worshippers of the Baphomet. I'm getting this like Gore like taking the like this is what happens. They basically so the experience that I'm receiving is basically like Gore taking the horns from the sacred whore and placing them upon the head of the stud. That is, this is the beginning of slavery, and this is how there's in this cult there's um adultery, like a big part of this cult is adultery and swingers, being swingers. um but they birth mediocrity because only every so often, like only certain children can be born that are going to be like special. And it's not going to be one that carries the sacred horror coding. So this is why it's falling. Like, so these particular communities that practice this allegiance to the cult of Gore, they're coming from famine, they're coming from refugee, they're coming from poverty. It's the it's a situation ripe for sex trafficking, and it's the cause, not the effect. Meaning the whole point of destabilizing whatever region or whatever community was to put them in a vulnerable position so that they would be vulnerable to sex trafficking. So it's not the other way around. It's that's the intent from the very beginning. That's not what accidentally happened, or oops, or that's just how we survived after what they did to us, or that's how we made the best of the situation. That the whole plan the whole time was to put these people in a vulnerable position so that they will be able to be sex trafficked, and then taking them to start a new colony. This is the beginning of colonization, is like taking the goddess. This is the primal wound that I keep replaying, and it's really been hurting, like very, very deeply, viscerally feeling the pain of it, knowing what I am, what I come from, and feeling it deeply. And everyone doesn't have the same experiences because they're not from the same breeding, they're not from the same lineage, they're not born from the same mother, the mother of demons. And I want people to look and see she's dark. There's a darkness about her. There's something unsettled. Don't come up in here thinking shit is sweet, because it ain't. Because the dredged up memories that I had to face to get to self awareness that I possess today were not pretty. They were really, really scary and ugly. Facing what's been done to my body, my little body as a child, facing what I was born into, getting through the anger that I have at my parents to the compassion that I have for them because they were born into it too. And they were born into it on two different continents. But this is spiritual. It's not, it has, location does not matter when it comes to making beings like us. Alright, okay. Drop a comment if you feel me. Your parents will travel continents to the ends of the earth to find each other and break up immediately. They just had to create that baby. Sat back, watched everything happen my whole entire life, watched everything go down between people's relationships and their kids and family members and all these things that could be avoided breaking out of the cult's allegiances. But it's easier said than done because to actually do that involves like so many layers of deep transformation internally as well as restructuring your entire financial life. So there's a big wave of a financial windfall, a large spiritual inheritance hitting the planet. And it has to do with the renouncing of Gore. Gore left. He left in 2023. That's why the Gaza genocide. That's why the fires in LA. That's why the mudslide in Asheville or I'm not sure exactly what happened, but there was immediately like multiple natural disasters coinciding with multiple global genocides of sacred bloodlines, persecuted, targeted bloodlines that have been targeted for sex trafficking. So that's the point. And in the case of like Palestinians, Congolese, the thing is, imagine what it's like. Say you actually do survive the genocide, what your entire family is gone. Then you have to start over somewhere new. Like the resiliency of humanity is just unfathomable, and it's a miracle that any of us are still here. It's not just affecting Palestinians that are in Palestine. It's affecting all of us. It's just to what degree um are you are you the sacrifice or are you the sacrificed for? Are you the one being sacrificed for? Well, this is the hardest part of it now because for those of us who are the ones that are being sacrificed for, you kind of just have to deal with it. It doesn't feel good. Why does my hair look like this? It doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good. Survivor's guilt, that it's guilt for a reason. Because you're like, why the fuck, what makes me special? Why did I survive? I know I'm jumping around a lot. I'm trying to get this out. You have to just sometimes you just have to show up and look crazy and you just can't care. Right. And I'm gonna just film it anyways. What the fuck was with my hair? Right. It's better. Somewhat. But leaving this cult, I didn't it I didn't I thought I left. I didn't know I was part of this cult. I didn't know I was under some ancient deity. I didn't know I was beholden to an energy that I didn't choose. But the thing is, I did. Actually, I did know that. That's why I created my entire like healing mind control ritual, Heaven on Earth, Reiki 1 and 2 course, Reiki Mother course, Rulak. I created everything that I needed to get myself free from it. And what's crazy is like you don't know that you're not free. You think these are your friends and family, but they're your prison guards. And you escape one cult and you just go right back into it because it's just all one big ass cult. Yes. And now we're in times where literally like people are ready to go to work at fucking Alligator Alcatraz because they get paid 3K weekly. They're ready to go sign up for the military because they're hungry. These are people that are not eligible for sex work. Well, shout out to the ones that do both, I guess. Although, not shout out to you because you're in the military. And yeah, I don't know. I just don't even know. There's always been these roles that people have played, but it's just like, why would you? You can see people are in slavery. That's slavery. They need to do it to survive, and they will. So I don't really believe that. Like, I feel like the protests are overhyped. I don't really believe that people are like that much taking to the streets. Honestly, I know that there's been a lot of people, but what about all the other people? But I could have somewhat of a pessimistic viewpoint of it, because since I can see this cult, then I can see it everywhere. So I see sex trafficking. It's a sex trafficking cult. It's a child sex trafficking cult. They profit from certain sex acts involving children, and that's where they amass their wealth. So anybody that got paid from that, they got paid that way. That's how the wealth was generated. And well, for me, I was able to figure all this out because I launched Root Lock. I work with a group of 20 healers where I'm intensively supporting them breaking the generational curse of childhood sexual abuse. We're going in for 6 months. And as I'm bringing us out of Root Lock, I'm instructing like another layer, which is recovering repressed memories of childhood sexual abuse and beyond. And so at that time, it was early 2023, and I guided us to do the healing mind control ritual daily for 22 days, as I recommend. If you're dealing with really persistent issues, a 22-day practice will really help reclaiming your headspace as yours. So at that time, just 3 days into the practice, I just some things started clicking in my head, and I started getting on Google and I started Googling. It's just right there on Google. But I got the confirmation that I needed, that let me know what I thought happened when I was a child really happened. And it let me know, like, who did it. And, you know, so much of this culture tries to make you seem insignificant. Specifically within this cult, there's humiliation rituals that certain populations, the Palestinian genocide is a humiliation ritual. Even when you guys see like Miss Rachel having a little Palestinian girl that is an amputee on her show jumping around and dancing around, that's not loving. That's a humiliation ritual. I wish people could see that. All the posts that you guys are making, not you guys, right? All the posts that people are making, this is a humiliation ritual. Um, I wish there was another way for it to not be that, and I wish it was just like you're raising awareness, and you're talking about the problem. I don't know how to make it better. I don't know how to make it better, but I do know that this is the Nazi entity, Gore. This entity likes attention, so it feels good when you say this many amount of Palestinians were killed today, because then it's like you're giving it credit for what it's done. So I just look at everything totally different now. This is a entity that thrives on recognition. It thrives on being like, it possesses people, and it makes those people look like it. It clogs up your arteries, it clogs up your intestines, it makes you fat, it makes you puffy and bloated with no definition, especially not to your face. your neck. um, but we're starting to see people's real faces more easily. So this will sometimes it'll look like the reptile or the lizard. Those are like basically it's handlers on Earth. This this is some ancient Earth deity. Um, it's one of the sons of what's his name? Ball, not Ball. Um, what is his freaking name? The child sacrifice deity. Duh. Come on, what is his freaking name? Jeez, it's on the tip of my tongue. Let me Google child sacre. Moloch. That's right. I didn't have to Google it. Moloch. It's one of Moloch's sons. Don't ask me how that works. I don't know. So he takes some similar sacrifices that Moloch takes, but he doesn't do them inside the community. He does them inside. He doesn't do them like out in public. Like it's not a community wide thing. It's done underground, not above ground. Those the sacrifices of old, they took the sacrifices on top of a mountain or on top of a temple. These sacrifices, they take them in secret and they take them in private, and they use the internet. So this deity, back when he was first around, there was some type of technological advancement that he worked through and like continues to work through to this day. But he also works through the physical body and the food that people are given, because like when people are put in this position of being destabilized and they're having to flee from their homes, they're not only they're suffering displacement, but they're suffering famine. So then a food source is introduced at the time that makes them compliant and subservient to being sex trafficked, and the entirety of the society is set up for sex trafficking. So not everybody is working in that capacity, but they're all supporting in that capacity. So for example, for me, I'm like, okay, well, I'm transitioning out of the adult entertainment industry. Well, then I'm transitioning right back into working in a capacity where under that cult, like, yes, I'm going to be a coach. I'm going to be a educator. Well, under the cult, you're a coach, you're an educator, great, you're a groomer, you're a handler, and you're using those avenues as means to develop trust, because it's ultimately it's all about sex trafficking at the end of the day. It's very very frustrating because it's like, okay, you don't have to think that deep into it. Nobody does, unless you're breaking the generational curse of childhood sexual abuse for sex workers and survivors. It was worth me getting canceled over to figure out what I figured out. But what's crazy is now, like, I've got so much knowledge and information that can help so many people, but I've just gone off the deep end so far. And then what I discovered about myself, when I dove into my memories, like, one of the really unexpected and really challenging side effects of recovering my memories of what happened to me as a child is that all those ways that it made me feel about myself came back. And when I try to replay the past couple years of my life and how it just like went so high and then went so low, and I think about all the different things that happened and all the different things that contributed to it, but ultimately for me, what I think, I didn't have any desire to be part of anything. I didn't have any desire to participate in anything, and I didn't want my role in society as a spiritual guide because I felt so lost, and I didn't want people looking to me for guidance. So, guess what? It doesn't matter how many people you guide, how long you stay guiding them. If you have to disappear or if you have to take time for you, then that's the only thing on the agenda, and they'll get over it. But with support, you don't have to, with support, you don't have to like take yourself away. You can just take breaks. But I didn't have that support. And a function of the cult is not getting support, because the less support you have, the more overwhelmed and overworked you are, the easier it is to slip in some cult programming here and there, to slip in, the spirits work through the connection with other people. So here's another thing about the Cult of Gor. I'm not going to make this video that much longer, but I just want to say this. Um, and really, I'm just going to take the time to get out everything that I need to. The spirits that operate this cult, they feed on certain emotional energies. So they want to cause humiliation, they want to cause pain, they want to cause confusion, they want to drain your energy, they want to make it so that you are distracted. And they set up systems to where you can only fit in that system. You might think, okay, I'm doing this because I'm going to get this, like I'm working this job because I'm saving up money, or I'm developing like in myself into somebody that's going to be this type of person. But in the caste system, in these cults, you're not, if you're not that type of person, you're not that type of person. So for example, I'm helping my clientele get pregnant, get married, have these certain like life milestones. And I'm thinking, okay, this is my work that I do, and it pays for me to live, and it's um, taking me towards love, taking me towards relationships, taking me towards that fulfilling, fruitful life of my own. No, because in the cult, that's not your job. Your job is to serve the ones that do that. And this is very tricky here and now, um, because like obviously, everybody don't have these problems, but some do. So they're worth solving. Fuck everybody else. If it's a problem for you, it's worth solving, and guaranteed it's a problem not just for you, for somebody else too. So I'm solving this problem, and I'm like, damn, sheesh. I can't listen to music anymore. I can't watch movies. Nothing feels good anymore. Nothing feels fun. I can't even enjoy a second line without thinking about how this is sex trafficking, or not necessarily a second line, but like a parade. Like I'm just seeing everything as sex trafficking all the time. So I don't know. I don't know. But this is what's happening on Earth: the end of sex slavery, the end of spiritual slavery. And it's already happened. It's already happened in the ethers. It's the energies that anchored this curses of childhood sexual abuse into this planet are light years away already. But we are not there yet. We're going there. We're going to get there. But it's not, it's is it even a thing? Is it even a possibility? Well, at least it can be for some of us. I used to be so innocent and sweet. Thought we really could break the generational curse of childhood sexual abuse off this planet for everybody. But was I being for real? Because the cult mouthpiece will say things that couldn't possibly be true. Either way, I realized that part of my fear of speaking and sharing what's been coming up has been I'm protecting the people that hurt me. And I think that's why most people don't speak up, because the people that they hurt, that they're they were hurt by their loved ones, people that they love the most. I don't even know if this video made any fucking sense. I don't know if this video made any fucking sense. I just need to clear this energy out. It's like if I don't say something, there's just this like primal scream erupting inside of me. And it needs to come out. And every time I go live, there's hardly anybody there. I just don't feel like there's a point to going live until I have more followers. But even making these videos, what's the point? It's like that's how I came to everything. What's the point? Like literally, what is the fucking point of anything? I mean, Jesus fucking Christ. God damn it. Jesus Christ on a crispy cracker. Alright, y'all. I don't know if I'm gonna post this because this is insane. I really want to talk more about this though, so we'll keep the conversation going. But I'm not scared to talk about it anymore. I'm owning my authority. I'm hitting on spiritual secrets that I have not seen anybody else talk about. And I'm sure, there's so many people that are so much more psychic than me, but they don't have this fucking sick ass Palestinian pattern recognition that I do. And stick with me because we going deep in the rabbit hole, and I'll see you there. Peace, healers. Masalama.